All right, what's poppin'? Boy, Big Rich, Queens, New York City, where we get busy. Wednesday afternoon, still a heat wave. It's like 97 degrees. Tomorrow's worse again, back to 105. This is like 14 days straight. But does that mean business stops? Absolutely not. Business always must be conducted, right? Gentlemen, you already know the rules. Wipe your feet on the rug. Throw some smoke in the atmosphere. I got a little bit of Elmer's glue myself. Salute to my GGC crew. You know how we do. Let's get busy. This is another article from my good friend Ann. Salute. Thank you very much for your email. And I sent you one today. But I got to be a little careful with these Canadian articles. I got into a little beef. I had to call up the Toronto Star. I just left them a message. I said, this is Big Rich, Queens, New York City. What are you talking about? Trying to, I'm not allowed to say this. I'm not allowed to say that. Never mind. I left a message. Call me back. You know what I'm saying? So let's get right into it. Big Rich, mob stories. Let's get busy. A mafia family in Canada is being destroyed by revengeful enemies. Now, we know that a Canadian forensic team last week identified the remains of a businessman who is believed, now to be the third victim this month in attacks against members of a crime family, We all know that Grant Edward was found in the wooded area of London, a city in southwestern Ontario, not London, UK, in such a condition that the police didn't even know if the remains were human. So first question is, how long has he been out there? All right? According to a certain Toronto papers, which I can't mention their name, Martin was facing fraud and he was on the run. We know this. He was murdered around the time Pat Musitano, the boss of the Musitano clan, Fat Pat Respect, was finally killed after a third attempt on his life. Musitano was shot in plain daylight on July 10th, we know this, inside of a parking lot of a mall in Burlington. And the second victim, which was Pat's sidekick, John Clary, remains in the hospital in serious condition. I guess Clary was his muscle. We all know that the killer escaped in a gray sedan and is still being searched for by police. A few days later, a second associate who witnessed the Musitano murder, Giuseppe Avignon, saw his car set ablaze and the word rat painted on his garage door. Pasquale led the notorious Musitano family, one of Canada's oldest crime families, whose roots in the area of Toronto can be traced back to 1937, when his great-uncle fled the Italian region of Calabria, home of the 'Ndrangheta Mafia, to immigrate to Canada, according to certain newspapers. When his brother Angelo was murdered in 2017, Pat pursued the criminal legacy of his family and worked to make his way up in the underworld of the city of Hamilton, near Toronto. A mafioso whose image was fitting into the stereotype Hollywood movies have created, Pat Musitano hid his eyes behind black sunglasses and moved around surrounded by bodyguards. His death is definitely the end of the Musitano dynasty. Experts say the latest attacks against the Musitanos, including Pat's murder, is payback for the murder of another Hamilton mobster, John Pops Papalia, 23 years ago. Revenge is a dish best served cold. According to Antonio Nicaso, lecturer at Queen's University and author of several books on the Canadian Mafia, the Musitano family used to be at the center of an historic power struggle between different clans. Despite their Calabrian origins, the Musitanos were historically allied with the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, acting as the reference in the Toronto region for the Bonanos. The betrayal of their 'Ndrangheta heritage culminated with the murder of Johnny Pops in 1997, a serious competitor to the Montreal-based Godfather Vito Rizzuto, who had pledged to gain sovereignty towards his American counterparts and was actively working on expanding his empire to the west. The Musitanos took the strategic decision to side with fast-rising Montrealese, explained Nicaso. According to CBC, Pat and Angelo Musitano were charged for the contract killing of Johnny Pops and his lieutenant, Carmen Barilaro. The charges concerning Johnny Pops' murder were dropped after they struck a deal to plead guilty to conspiracy to kill Barilaro. They spent 10 years in jail when they were released in 2007 and still enjoyed the protection of Rizzuto. When he died in 2013 of pneumonia, that's when the Musitanos started to be on the defensive side. In the Mafia, revenge doesn't have a statute of limitation. Angelo, who had quit the criminal world, was murdered in 2017. In 2019, Pat, by some miracle, survived multiple gunshots, including one to the head. Since then, Pat was protected full-time by bodyguards. The killer likely took the first opportunity he had of him outside his house in his armored car, Nicasso said, adding that Pat's murder on July 10th can be seen as one of the latest chapters of the internal war that erupted after Rizzuto's death. Rizzuto had focused on business and had created strategic alliances with other criminal organizations in the country, and this is the legacy two rival factions with the mafia decided to pursue. Quote, the mafia takes care of the importation of drug while the Hells Angels does the distribution and the street gangs sell. All take their part of the profit while trying to minimize violence in order to avoid attracting police attention, Nicasso explained. Quote, the goal of the next generation will be to build more alliances, in particular with the Sinaloa cartel and with the money launderers interested in Canada's investment safety, unquote. So first of all, a cool little article, right? This picture here really quick is of Vito Rizzuto, 1981 in New York City, in the dark suit right there in the center. I think he got a cigarette in his mouth. Cool little picture. First of all, salute to Ann. Thank you for sending me the little article. I had to chop it up a little bit. So anyway, first of all, gentlemen, you know the rules. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is just another little quick article on Canada. Salute to Ann. Thank you for sending me the article, and please send me more, and I'll do my due diligence on this end. I don't need no reporters from the Toronto Star emailing me. Big Rich Queens, where we get busy. You know how we do. Like, comment, share. Let me know what you're smoking on in the comments, and we'll talk soon. Salute.